Good morning, baseball fans. It is November 9th. I think it's a Thursday. I'm not really sure because I've lost all track of time, space, all of that fun stuff. I am Susie. This is Bourbon and Baseball. And with me today, if you guys are on YouTube, you should probably go to the YouTubes. And don't look at my beautiful face. I know that's exactly the reason why you guys are all going to YouTube. But today I have two very special guests, and they are very lovely. Lisa and Aaron of Brewers Babes. Thank you guys so much for being on. I'm so sorry that I was late because I'm an idiot and don't know time zones. But again, thanks for being on with me today. And again, the podcast that these two lovely ladies have created is called Brewers Babes. So if you aren't familiar with the, I don't know, Milwaukee Brewers, guess what team they follow? The Padres. But can you guys kind of tell us why you guys decided to start the podcast, when you started the podcast?
Sure. I'm Erin, and Lisa and I have been friends for over a decade. We were neighbors when we both lived in the River West neighborhood of Milwaukee. And so, like, as close friends, obviously, we have a lot of things in common, a lot of mutual interests. But one of the things that we're both really passionate about is baseball and the Brewers. And so that's something that we've been able to enjoy together for a long time. And then I moved out to Virginia about 7 years ago. And so, obviously, we've really missed each other. We've missed spending time together. And we've managed to stay connected, but we both have full-time jobs, both have side hustles, we both have 2 kids. So it's gotten a little bit more difficult, to keep track of each other and to stay connected.
Right, trash
So
the kids. I mean, that is definitely the choice to no, just kidding. So, what about you, Lisa? Have you been like a lifelong Brewers fan or?
Well, I've been living I was born in Wisconsin. I was born in Milwaukee. So I was born into Brewers fandom. So I grew up and my grandma would have like Bob Uecker on the radio and I would listen to them, but I didn't really become a Brewers fan until I became a baseball fan. And that was actually when I was living in Washington, D.C. And I lived close enough to RFK Stadium to go walk to Nats games before they moved to their new stadium. It was like $4 a ticket, and I was broke at the time. So like, this is something to do. So
Right.
I actually
Yeah.
got into loving baseball through the Nats.
It's funny
Okay.
because Lisa and I have that in common because I moved to Milwaukee in 2008, and then I lived in Seattle briefly in 2011 when the Brewers made that deep postseason run, and that's when I got really, really into baseball because I was away from home, I was lonely, and I connected with that Brewers team on TV because I was able to watch them every day. So when we both came back to Milwaukee, that's when we really kicked off our Brewers fandom, I think, together.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. I became a baseball fan in 2018, so I can kind of relate after a lifelong of my husband trying to get me to watch baseball. Side note, I didn't give the peoples the warning. Here is the warning, guys. This is a not a PG-13 show. This is a rated R show. But not like that. There's not adult content like that. Like that's not the language, maybe some of the humor. But definitely all of the F-bombs will be dropped. So if you have kiddos, put some earmuffs on them. I'm not going to tell you what to do though. That's on you. If you want to do that, that's fine. If like if you don't care that they hear the word fuck all the time, by all means. If you obviously care, if you hear the word fuck all the time, probably not the show for you. So there is your warning, guys. I apologize that I did not do that earlier. Sometimes, I forget, but it's a free show. Like, I don't know what you fucking expect from y'all. So yeah, my husband tried to get me to watch football, baseball, any of the sports, right? And baseball was his first love. And I would honestly rather watch flies fuck than watch baseball. I'm like, don't do that. I don't want to I don't want to watch baseball. Like, why?
Now I'm picturing it and it's just
Yeah.
not pleasant.
You're welcome. See, it's that was the level of discomfort that I had when my husband would try to make me watch baseball. I'm all, I don't want to do this. And then after the whole like 2017 season, the Astros went. Obviously, this is the Astros themed quote unquote podcast. I really love the Astros, but I really love all the baseballs now. But all of the loving of the baseballs happened later, so like 2021 ish. So, but I will tell you though, I am most familiar with AL teams. Some of the NL teams I'm more familiar with. There are some NL teams that I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with, like pretty much at all. The Brewers I'm moderately familiar with.
That sounds about right.
So the last episode that I listened of y'all, when you guys were talking about the intense Cubs Brewers rivalry, I'm all, hold the fucking phone. Just give me a second. When Why are the Brewers and the fucking Cubs rivals? Like, what's happening here? I was so confused, and I had asked um the baseball group chat that I'm in, what the fuck? And they're all, how did you not know? They're like an hour away from each other. I'm all, okay, so first off, I don't know if you know this, but I'm dumb and I don't know geography. And so whenever people tell me about cities that I don't currently live in my head, I just kind of envision just like bubbles of like where they are generally, but not really in context to one another. So in my head, I'm all, okay, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, like that's up there. That's like one of the north ones. Chicago, Illinois. I'm like, I don't know, like that's two separate states, bro. Why would I think that they're next to each other? And they're like, Susie, you are the stupidest. And I'm all, sorry, not a thing.
You know, I did not know where Milwaukee was until I had already made the decision to move there. I got engaged to someone who was living in Milwaukee, and then I was getting ready to move, and I'm like, wait a minute, where is this place? And I got out a map, and I was like, oh, it's on Lake Michigan. Cool.
Yeah.
So it's literally straight up, Chicago's down here. I'm like, oh, that's where it is. So yeah, they call it the I-94 rivalry because that is the highway that takes you down to Chicago or up to Milwaukee, and Chicago is just below, it's the north side of Illinois.
Right.
So it's right there. And one of the things that makes it such a big rivalry is like, Wrigley is small. It's expensive to get tickets there. Miller Park or AmFam is larger. It's easier to get tickets. And so when the Cubs play the Brewers in Milwaukee, half of the stadium is full of Cubs fans because they'd rather pile onto buses and come up, drive up an hour and a half and spend cheaper tickets and tailgate and get the whole experience. But, we don't like that they call it Miller Park or Wrigley Field North. That's kind of shitty. Don't like that. And, they're not always the nicest of fans, especially when they come to visit. So that's a big part of it.
Interesting. Okay. All right. See, I'm learning all kinds of new things about different fandoms because you always hear about like the quote unquote rude fan bases, like Boston and Philly and like New York and stuff, and typically Texas team like I mean if people come to the Astros games, most of the time we don't boo unless your name is Adolis Garcia, and really that's only recently. Most of the time we don't boo. Most of the time the fans are nice. And there's not really issues. Like that's not really our thing. I was not aware that Cubs fans were not nice people. I mean, obviously it's not all Cubs fans. I know,
Right.
don't come
We
for
did
me comments.
we did make that disclaimer. We said hashtag not all Cubs fans. So don't come at
Right.
us for it, right? But yeah, it's not always fun to be at a Cubs Brewers game. Like Wrigley is an iconic stadium. Like nobody's gonna
Right.
deny that. You have to go to a game at Wrigley. I don't
Mhm.
recommend a Brewers game at Wrigley. Like go see the Cubs play somebody else because then it'll be fun. And don't wear your Brewers gear because then you won't get hassled. But like some rivalries are really fun. Some of them are super fun and engaging and fucking wonderful. And the Cubs Brewers rivalry is just, it's not that. It's ugly. I think maybe because we're too close to each other, like some people call Milwaukee Chicago's little sister,
Yeah.
or whatever. It just like, and Milwaukee is the smallest market in baseball. Like we have the smallest media market. And I think that gives some of us a little bit of a inferiority complex. And like Cubs fans definitely play on that, especially
all
since
right.
2016, right? Especially since like they've won the World Series and now they're just hashtag not all fucking Cubs fans, but a lot of Cubs fans. And so it's just this rivalry. And they're also in our division. And
Right.
this whole
Right.
season we were fighting with, like half the season, we were fighting with them for first place. We were just going back and forth with them. And like the Reds would pop up every once in a while, but it was us. And so like that rivalry, like the actual baseball outside of the fans themselves also exists.
Right. I have to imagine that there's also, the Packers Bears rivalry is well known, throughout the NFL. So I don't know if there's any, there's the
Susie,
rivalry
let's not do
between
football.
Chicago and
I don't do any other sport besides baseball. So I'm gonna just take your word for it and be like,
yeah,
okay.
I feel like Milwaukee may have an inferiority complex when it comes to Chicago being, one of the largest cities in America, just an hour and a half south of us. So that we know there's the Bears Packers rivalry. So it kind of makes sense. I mean, we don't And yeah, like Lisa said, they're in our division. Like we don't have the same rivalry with the White Sox, even though they're in the same city because they're not even in.
Well, okay.
Right.
So when I first started getting into baseball, I'm all, okay, so like the White Sox and the Cubs, that's the thing. And they're all, no. Like, what do you mean it's not a thing? It's in the same fucking city. And they're all, not really though. I'm all, that doesn't make any sense. Like, y'all hear, like, that doesn't make any sense. Why would they not be rivals?
I think in
No,
Chicago,
it's not a
you're
thing.
either a Cubs fan or you're a White Sox fan. But I don't know who like a White Sox rival would be.
I don't
Well, I
either.
mean, they suck. So it's
Besides
really
like
not a thing
division
anymore.
stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, again, late coming to the baseball party. I was not aware that the Astros Cardinals were a huge rivalry. I'm like, why the fuck would we be rivals with the Cardinals? And
that's
they're
what we
like,
have in common.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
and I have that in common.
well, everyone's like, Susie, that before we were in the AL, it was the NL, and that's who we. And I was like, that's dumb. We haven't. But I was like, so you're telling me that right now, like as of right now, the Cardinals are still our rival? And I have some baseball friends that are like, oh, absolutely. And then some people are like, no, it's fuck the
Yeah.
Yankees. Oh, okay, got it.
Well,
That shit runs deep.
Yeah.
I got a friend
Yeah.
who's a Yankees fan, and when I was texting all of my friends, like, the fucking Cubs! Are you fucking kidding me? The fucking Cubs! She was like, why are you so mad about the Cubs? I'm like, because I hate the fucking Cubs. She's like, oh, I didn't realize that was a thing. I'm like, yeah, we all do, don't we? Don't we all hate them? I don't know.
That's awesome. I'm
Yeah, no idea
again.
either. So
I'm learning all kinds of new things. I'm so very excited about it. Someday I will get up to that stadium just solely to, I don't know, pay my way onto going down the slide. I don't know who I have to fucking pay or like
Oh, you
bribe to get
can.
on
You
the
can
slide.
totally pay to go
Oh,
on
you
the
can
slide.
take a tour.
There's a tour, and then you can do
There's
the
a whole
slide as an
thing.
add-on.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
excited. I
No, you
don't
don't
want to
gotta-
break it. I don't want to break an arm though, so that I got to figure that out.
Or
But
a couple ribs.
or ribs. Yeah, no, I don't want to do any of that. But we're gonna figure it out. So, so if you guys aren't deep in the trenches of the baseball fandom, guys, Hot Stove is piping hot right now, and some of the managerial moves have been going on. I know as Astros fans, we are deeply concerned with who our new manager will be, and the Brewers had a manager named Craig Counsell, who I don't know if you guys know this, but apparently is a fucking badass and just makes like gold out of random ass players. And you're like, who the fuck are you? And why are you going so far in the playoffs with like duct tape and string tied together? Like that's kind of the
Oh my god, he is the MacGyver. He's MacGyver
Right?
/ Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah. So Craig Counsell
He's a
has
Cub
been
now, so fuck him.
This is true. And we'll get into that. But now Craig Counsell had been the manager of the Brewers for
9 years.
9 years. Okay. I'm like one of
This
those
is
odd
9th
fucking
year.
numbers.
He's completed his 9th year.
Okay.
And he played for the Brewers. He was on the 2011 team that went into the postseason. He played shortstop for them for a few years. He ended his playing career there. He worked for the Brewers front office. I'm a big Craig Counsell fan. This has been very hard on me. And now I'm just talking about. Now I'm just gonna ramble about. I'm sorry. I'm like,
no. That's
grew up.
But this is
It all
why
feeds into
though.
why. Yeah.
This is why the betrayal hurts so bad, guys.
Yes,
because not only like was he there, he was a player there. Didn't his dad work for the Brewers too?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dad worked for the Brewers. He is an actual like Milwaukee resident, like lives there. Kids go to school there, like the whole shebang, guys. And the Cubs weren't on the fucking radar. It wasn't on the radar at all, right? Like it was the Mets. It was either the Mets or the Brewers were going to retain Craig Counsell. And then all of a sudden, Ken Rosenthal a couple days ago is like, "Oh, JK, it's not the Mets or the Brewers. And FYI, it's not going to be any of the teams that are currently looking for a manager." And we're all, I'm sorry, what now? So you mean it's like it's a team that has a manager? What's happening? And then the bombshell drops that the Chicago Cubs is now making Craig Counsell the highest paid manager ever, basically, $8 million a year. So 40. This is a math pod. I'm not that Asian, but 40 million over 5 years. And, get your bag, Craig, because that's a shit ton of money. But I was like, I'm sorry. Wait, isn't David Ross? Where's David Ross? Like, isn't he still the manager? Wasn't this a thing? And I still don't really know about all of that stuff because apparently this was November 1st that they had to start talking to him
Mm-hmm.
because he
his
was
contract
not
expires
His
allowed
on
to.
contract
31st.
expired. Yeah.
Okay. So now kind of take me through, if you guys haven't listened to the Brewers Babes last episode, you should probably go do that because it is fucking fantastic. But kind of give us a little walkthrough of all of the emotions / timelines of what y'all as Brewers fans through and through kind of felt.
I don't know. What stage of grief are you on right now, Lisa?
Oh fuck. I think I go back and forth between acceptance and anger.
Yeah, I'm the
Still,
same
probably,
way.
but like I think the entire fandom is in different stages of grief right now. But we all started in shock. Like we all
Yes.
started at the same place. I don't know
Everybody was
anybody who
shocked.
wasn't completely shocked. It's just and you're right, because Craig has been a Milwaukee guy his entire life. He understands this rivalry, like maybe not in the same way that fans does, because he's never been just a fan, right? He's always been
Right.
like in the franchise, but he knew what it would do, and I think that's the part that hurts so bad.
Yeah.
That's the part for everybody. It's not that we didn't know he was leaving, because we knew that he was leaving. I think he
Right.
even talked with the Astros for a while about it, but
We heard that
I think-
Astros were interested potentially.
I think there was a rumor. I don't think there was never like an actual meeting
Yeah.
or anything, but there were the rumors that,
yeah.
and
And he
again,
interviewed-
it's a whole thing down here. That's a
And-
whole other episode.
He interviewed with the Guardians too. So I
yeah.
mean, we knew and we were ready, and we talked about it a lot. And the fact that he he kept kind of punting, like they would ask about extension talks and be like, well, I want to wait until now. And then he's like, well, now we're going I got to wait till the end of the season. Well, now it's October. I got to wait until, and they even asked him on the night that we got eliminated, what now? And he's like, now is not the time to talk about it. But all of that, I don't know. When you talk to Willie Adames about extensions, he's like, I love Milwaukee. I want to stay here. I hope we can talk about it. And Craig's like, it's not the time. We're going to punt. And I'm like, all right, I'm kind of getting the sense that like, you're not going to want to stick around. And it's fair. I mean,
we knew he was going to leave. Yeah.
We gave a whole decade, but yeah, the Cubs shocked. No one had that on the radar, and shocked and
now
angry.
people are still just pissed. People are still pissed, and people are like,
pissed.
there is no way that Craig Counsell is not getting booed when the Cubs come to Milwaukee. There is no way that he's getting a standing ovation or anything except loud boos. People are pissed.
So now overall, as a fan base, are Brewers fans booers? Like again, we've referenced, the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Phillies, but like I feel like Midwest people are nice, and they're just, that's not the vibe. Is it?
I don't think we're big time booers. We definitely don't boo our own guys. Boo who do we boo all the time? Manny
we
Machado.
try not to boo our own guys. I mean, we boo Jose Altuve. Not me. I like Jose. Okay, sorry.
We're gonna have to talk about this in the off season, gals. Well, you'll see the light.
What's funny though, talking about the Cubs rivalry. So when you go to Wrigley, no matter who hits a home run out at Wrigley Field, the fan, if it's the opposing team, the fan always throws it back. That's a Wrigley thing. That's that's what they do. At AmFam, the only time Brewers fans throw a home run ball back onto the field is if we're playing the Cubs. If a Cub hits a home run ball, then the Brewers fan, there's a likelihood they'll throw it back. No other team do we do that. And I don't know if I know that some people do that here and there, but Wrigley is the spot that they do it, and the only team that we do it to is the Cubs. So
okay. Yeah,
there's part of it.
There's some teams that I think that Astros fans will do that too, but like me personally, I don't give a fuck who hit that. Well, no, I do give a fuck, but it's got to be very certain players that if I for some reason was lucky enough and had the athletic ability enough to like catch a home run ball or a foul ball or whatever, I'd be like, nope, fuck y'all, I'm keeping this shit. Like,
no
this
kidding.
is my moment.
Right?
Same.
Right?
I'm like, or I'm gonna give it to like a kid. There's very few people that I would be like, fuck y'all, I'm gonna throw this shit back, but then I'm gonna probably just embarrass myself and like, hit somebody in the head, and that's not the look either.
I think for AmFam, a lot of the booing is circumstantial booing. So it's not like we'll boo a player just because they're there, but like, for example, I remember a couple of years ago, Yasiel Puig was just showboating a lot. He hit a homer, and then he hit another one, and then he I don't know, something else, and he just started just acting kind of like a cocky jackass, like running around the bases, and then he started getting booed by Brewers fans. So we're very much like paying attention to circumstance for booing.
Okay,
I
so
wouldn't
yeah,
say we just like
they do always.
situational booing.
yeah, situational booing is what we do.
Okay.
So Manny Machado gets booed all the time, and that's because he stomped on Jesus Aguilar's foot. Remember when he was running to first? That was in like 2018.
Okay.
In October. So we've never forgiven him for that, for stomping
Gotcha.
on Jesus Aguilar's foot. So he gets booed at every at bat when he's at
Okay.
AmFam.
Well, now I know. Now I know. Now when I tune into those games, I'm be like, I know why they're booing Manny Machado. Thank you. So now Cubs fans and Cubs in its entirety would have been booed anyways. But now will it just rain down boos the entire game? Are you
I
thinking?
don't think so. No,
No?
I don't think so. No.
Just
Maybe if he comes out for
He
a mound
comes out to do a
visit
mound
or
visit.
something
Yeah,
like that.
mound visit. Totally. Or to argue with an umpire.
Which he's very good at.
Yeah.
He's great at getting ejected. So
I wouldn't know. Dusty Baker really only came out one time and really only got ejected once. So
doesn't he like water his plants in the dugout? And he's like, I love Dusty Baker.
Does a lot of things. If the Brewers need a manager, would you guys like Dusty Baker? Like,
hell yeah.
If you have any young rookies that need playing time, don't expect them to get any. Just
we only have
our whole
young
team
rookies.
is rookies. We only have rookies. That's our whole team.
Well, then maybe even
our whole team.
maybe even better. Maybe even better then. Now again, like I said earlier, I'm moderately familiar with the Brewers, mainly with the pitching staff because I play a lot of fantasy baseball and a lot of the pitching staff I had on my roster.
Yeah.
Sure.
Position player wise, it's really only like Willie Adames and Christian Yelich, like off the top of my head that I could like name you. Mark Hanna just got got traded to the Detroit Tigers. Was Daniel Vogelbach for a hot minute until he went over to the Mets. So I know you guys had some rookies and then they went down and got hurt. So can you kind of go through your roster and tell me like what's going on there?
We have some hot rookies. We have some really great rookies who I think are going to be the core of our team for the next couple of years at least. So we have Sal Frelick, who is an outfielder and is just a superstar out there. What does he call himself, Aaron? Like a spark plug?
Scrappy little spark
plug. He's
plug.
got so much energy. Yeah, he's a scrappy little spark plug. He's got so much energy. He makes fantastic catches. He's hot at the plate. He rarely strikes out.
Does he play all outfield positions? Does he have a normal set, like he's normally the starting center fielder or left, right? Or just really anywhere?
In center.
Center. Okay. He plays right as well. I mean, left is pretty much yelly all the time. Okay. And then we have Joey Weimer.
Joey Weimer.
Center field as well. He's like 6'5". He has a beautiful curly blonde mullet. He can hit for power, and he also makes amazing, beautiful catches. Like anything gets hit out to center field. If Joey Weimer's out there, he's got it. Like it's no problem. So he's got a really interesting batting stance.
Yeah, interesting. Oh, I think Aaron's frozen a little bit. Hang on, let me text
Aaron, I think he is frozen just a tiny bit. So now you had Carlos. Crap. Who is your first baseman? Really big.
Carlos Santana.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we also have Rowdy Tellez at first base. Okay.
Yes.
Well, we could use a first baseman, honestly. But our second baseman, Bryce Terang, is another rookie. And he plays second base better than I've seen a Brewers second baseman in a really long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your catcher is William Contreras, right? Young brother.
William Contreras. Love him.
Yeah.
He's been wonderful. He's been such a good addition to the team. We needed a catcher that could hit. He's fantastic at catching. He can hit, and he just fits with the vibe of our club really well. I mean, it's a lot of good vibes, good feelings. Everybody's friends. So I feel like he came into the fold really well, and he's really the core of this team as well. Big part of it.
Yeah, for sure.
He's good friends with Willie and Freddie. So
So now pitching staff wise, Wade Miley opted out of his contract, so he's now a free agent. So now you guys have Corbin Burns, who there was some drama over arbitration last season,
Last
and
year.
yeah, basically the team told Corbin Burns that he was the reason why y'all didn't make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, they fucking
man.
said
So
that to him.
This
They said that
same
to our
man,
Cy Young Award-winning pitcher. Yes.
yeah,
Now you've
and
got us
dragged him
angry.
through
No?
arbitration over $750,000. So this is the same person who won't
Okay,
spend the
let's
money
talk about
to
the
give
real
Craig
villain.
Counsell.
It's the real villain.
Yeah,
now.
the real villain
This
here
is
is
the
not
real
Craig
villain.
Counsell. The real villain is Mark Atanasio, the man who, like I said, dragged Corbin Burns through arbitration over $750,000. Basically, told them that he was the reason that we were out of that he cost us the postseason. This is the guy who, I mean, that's just a perfect example, who won't give Craig Counsell the caliber of player or
Right.
isn't willing to pay players of that caliber enough to keep them around for Craig Counsell to manage a team that actually has a chance at going deep into the postseason. So the fact that Craig Counsell didn't want to stick around after 9 fucking years of that,
Right.
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, now I'm all mad again.
No,
Fuck.
I love the fire. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Kelsey from Peace, Love, and Baseball that I had on last episode, she got onto a Tommy Edman rant, and she was like, "My face is hot, and now I'm red." And I'm like, "This is what we do here, okay? Like, I should call this like baseball therapy over here. Get all your feelings out." So Mark, how do you say the last name?
Atanasio.
Atanasio, the owner of the Brewers, is a billionaire, yes? With a B?
He's close enough. Yeah.
Just about.
Just about. Yeah.
Not quite.
He's probably got some offshore assets hidden that we don't know about that don't. I mean,
Yeah,
no
shit.
probably.
He also owns some like some soccer team somewhere else.
Right.
I mean,
doing rich guy shit.
yeah.
So Corbin Burns, obviously they're like number one. Brandon Woodruff.
He's out. He's out for the season.
Oh.
That's his last season, right? Like,
well, he just got shoulder surgery.
Okay. But
so
this upcoming season is technically his like last quote unquote season with y'all, right?
Before he's a free agent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
And then last season Josh Hader got traded at the not last season, 2 seasons ago, Josh Hader got traded at the deadline, and we're all like, what the fuck? Devin Williams, I guess, step on up.
And he did.
And he has, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why? What's happening here? Like, what you guys doing with your pitching staff? I don't know.
And I mean, I think our bullpen was solid last year. I really love the addition of Yoel Payamps. I thought he did great. Abner Uribe is very exciting. I mean, he got called up halfway through the season. He throws 103 mile an hour fastballs. And he's cute. He's so cute, and he's very talented. I think that they unfortunately put him in a high leverage situation in the postseason game that he was not. I don't think he was ready for that, but I think he has the potential to be incredible. We still have Freddie Peralta as a starter. We signed Colin Ray again for another year, and he did a great job of kind of filling in when we were injury. When we were having all of these issues with injuries, he did a really good job of filling in. So I mean, the bullpen solid. We got a couple of good starters, but it's the last few years have been frustrating because it's like, all right, we're stacked with pitchers. We're fucking stacked with them. We got a great closer. We got a great setup guy. We have 2 aces. We got Freddie Peralta, who's and then we got to do something with it now, because if we don't do something with it now, it's going to be too late. And now we're sort of watching that happen with Brandon Woodruff. We're not going to have this year. We don't know what's going to happen with Corbin Burns. So as all of these things are sort of. And now we don't have Counsell anymore, so all these things are sort of floating away. And it's like, was that our last chance? I'm getting very dramatic with my arms here. Sorry.
We like it.
Yeah.
You should go, if you guys are audio only, go check out the YouTubes, because there's lots of movement over there. Normally I'm like the hand person, so I like that Aaron has like joined me in the hand parade. I like it. So now in Brewerland, is it basically just kind of like despair? Are you guys like, what the fuck is happening? Can we just get a fucking manager? Can we figure out what the fuck we're doing? Are you guys hopeful at all? Like, what's the vibe?
I think a lot of people are still really mad and sad.
Okay.
So there's
But we
that.
sit in
Still working through those
sit
feelings.
in madness. Yeah.
That's true.
I know that there's a couple of options. So our front office and our GM have made some statements that I think are kind of contradictory. And Aaron, you and I haven't talked about this at all really yet, but like on one hand, they're like, we're going to start with fresh blood. We're going to have open options. We're going to, have a fresh slate. It's going to be this sort of thing. And then in the same breath, they're like, we're also interviewing a lot of internal guys. So like
well, one of the
the
things
bench
they
coach,
said is
you know
that,
what I mean? So can you
yeah,
do
that
one?
they
Like, I don't know.
right. They were saying that, when Counsell left, they assured us all that like, well, we're keeping the rest of our staff. Like the rest of our coaching
Bullshit.
staff is
Bullshit.
gonna be sticking around. But if they're gonna bring in an external manager, surely he's gonna bring his staff with him, right? So
Right.
I don't know how we can do both. There are some internal candidates that are interesting.
Yeah. There's
and maybe
also
exciting.
there's also 2 or 3 candidates with ties to the Astros.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one that they said that they were talking to is Joe Espada, your bench coach, and then Troy Snicker, the hitting coach. And then who's your former manager, Rodney Lanier?
Oh,
Is that right?
Linares.
Yeah.
I want to say
Yeah.
he was part of our minor league bench staff or something like that.
Gotcha. He's with the Rays now, but I know he was with
Yeah, he's
Houston
with the
for a
Rays now.
while, and so
Yeah.
those are 3 names that have been kinda tossed around.
Yep.
Okay.
What do you
Okay.
think of that,
Yeah.
Susie? Can you tell us anything about him?
I have been wanting and basically campaigning for Joe Espada to be the Astros manager.
Hmm.
Like after Dusty won after we won the World Series, 2 seasons ago, I was like, okay, Dusty, like we're gonna salute you right off into the sunset. Go into your vineyard and just chill. You went out on a high note. Joe Espada, come on the fuck in. And then Dusty's like, well, if I won one, I'm gonna win two. Go. Okay, sure, Dusty Baker, yay. And obviously you see where
Really?
that got us.
Is that how y'all feel about him? Because he's like a legend.
I will say that he is the best people person ever. Like
Mhm.
he is a great personality and a great man. As a manager, however, he leaves things to be wanted. And I will there's a great divide. It depends on which Astros fans you talk to, because there are some Astros fans that are like, y'all are fucking idiots. This is Dusty Baker and he is a legend. I'm like, he is a legend of the game, but I don't know, maybe you want to go look at his track record and like see some of those other teams that he managed, and like maybe there's a reason why he only has the one championship ring. I don't know. But there's some very questionable, many questionable
Gotcha.
decisions on
I think
this
that's probably
season.
that's probably how fans go. We have like part of our fan base who's been calling Craig Counsell for the last
Oh,
couple of seasons. Like that's how
uh-huh.
they feel about him. This is so stupid. So
That's
yeah,
well,
it
and
depends
like
on who you ask for the birds too.
it's again one of those things where he is a great like I said, great personality. I'm so mad at him because I feel like if we didn't have this season, he probably could have ridden off on a much, much higher note. I
Um,
still wasn't a big fan of him last season. And if you go back through the episodes that I've recorded, I still maintain to this day that we won in spite of Dusty Baker and not because of Dusty Baker, for that World Series. And so many people have been like, Susie, you don't know ball. I'm like, don't I though? Don't I? Like, really though? Come on now. Like, if you really sit down and you look at the numbers, like you could see that it was kind of like foolproof. Our bullpen was fucking awesome. Our pitching went deep. There weren't that many decisions that he had to make. Unfortunately, there were a lot of decisions that had to be made this season, and they maybe weren't the right ones. And by maybe, I mean they definitely
yeah.
weren't. So,
You know,
but
I feel like
yeah,
that's probably part of the reason that Craig Counsell is leaving, because the front office was making a lot of roster decisions that just didn't make any sense. And
Yep.
he felt kind of hamstrung. So not just them not spending money where they should have spent money, but like the reason that the Astros have John Singleton now, after like he was with the Brewers and then he got picked back up by the Astros, is because the front office had to keep Jesse Winker on because of how much they had to pay him, and they didn't want to pay, right? So like, and then Jesse Winker, because he had to stay on and we had to get rid of John Singleton because of him, he had 2 at-bats in very key parts of the postseason. Look at Aaron getting all mad already. He had, like, you put him in to pinch hit a guy who hasn't hit in a major league game since July, and then his very first swing, he just like gets a back spasm or something and hurts himself, and then you do it again the next night. I don't know.
Yep.
Just like, so part of our theory is like, did Craig do that on purpose just to give like a fuck you to the owners, to be like, because you gave me this roster to work with, and because there are, like, we know that there are game days when the front office is like, play this person and this person, and he's like, ugh. All right, so like they influence roster decisions and lineup decisions and stuff, and so like, I don't know, I'm not saying that Craig intentionally threw a game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he chose to work with what the front office gave him in order to show them why they shouldn't have done that.
Right, and this isn't the first time. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the season with Matt Bush, who is a World Series winner now, right? Wasn't he on the fucking Rangers roster? Didn't throw a fucking pitch.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
Yeah, we put
I
him
know.
in.
I saw him celebrating. Oh, well,
what?
All right, fine.
God, but it was the same type of deal. Like he was terrible. He was terrible, and then Craig put him in, and afterwards he was like, "Well, he was hired to do a job, and so I have to trust that he can do the job that he was hired to do, even though we all knew he wasn't able to do it." And I think we talked about that even earlier this season. Was that a message to the front office? Like, look, you can't give me these guys. You got to give me guys that, like, if this is what you're going to give me, I'm going to play them, and that's going to be the result. So this wasn't the first instance of that maybe occurring, at least in our interpretation.
Right.
Interesting.
And when our owner got asked about it, he was just like, I just want to take some bites of an apple. Like, we're a small market team. This is what we should do. We should take some bites of an apple. We're like, fuck you. What do you like? We're also a professional baseball team.
Yeah,
like,
no kidding.
Professional players. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah, and a hardcore fan base that consistently turns out to games. People who are passionate about the sport, and we have professional level players. Like, I don't know why you. Sorry,
get it all out, Aaron. We love it. Again, that's what we're here for.
It's bullshit. All this, you hire the players, and then you talk. And then you talk shit about it. Like, this is the best we can do because this, we're a small market team. It's like, dude, you're the one in charge of.
Anyway. You're like, excuse me. Yeah. So it's the opposite. It was the opposite here. It was the opposite here. Dusty could do whatever the fuck he wanted with the roster, and there was no front office managing at first. There was some kind of gentle nudges kind of in the middle of the season, that they're like, Dusty, you've got to play Yainer Diaz. Like, please, for the love of God, please play Yainer Diaz. And Dusty's like, fuck y'all. Maldi, you're my guy. Let's go. And it was just, it won the best look. And so that it was literally the greatest divide in Twitter history of the roster construction. Like, literally every fucking day we were like, please, can we see the lineup? Like, are they gonna put the death squad out? One time. It was just the one time that the death squad actually got put in, and it was just it's a whole thing. But so yeah, maybe Dusty Baker would love to go up there, because I don't know, he's like, no, fuck y'all, I'm gonna make my own. Yeah. I'm gonna make my own lineup. I don't give a fuck. But I don't know, for some reason there was a lot of Dusty making lineups that didn't make sense, and you're like, what's happening? Why? Why? What are you doing? So I don't know. Like, again, great personality. I would actually love to like hang out with him and like hear stories, but I don't want him anywhere near
fair
constructing a roster. No. Like, maybe as like I don't know, like as a special assistant to the Peoples. I don't know. Like, just tell the stories, Dustin.
Dugout Gardner.
The Dugout Gardner.
Tell them how you created a high five. Like, how you're like, I don't know, good friends with Snoop. Do those, but don't construct a roster. Anyways, so as like as you know, the objective Brewers fans that you guys are, who would you guys like as your next manager? Do you have anybody in mind that you're like, please bring us this gentleman?
Look, I am rooting for a player manager scenario in Joey Votto. Like, I want to bring back the player manager. We haven't had one since the 80s. It was Pete Rose. I would love to see it. That's my dream. Joey Votto for player manager.
That's awesome.
How can you not? How can you? And we need a first baseman. You know, so problem solved. Done. We need a bat. Done.
That's true. We need
a guy. We need a guy who can like bring people together in the clubhouse. Done. We need a manager. Done. Look at that. You fucking check out 5 things. Joey Votto.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. I can't even imagine that. Like Joey Votto coming off first base being like, hold on, I'm gonna make a pitching change. Just give me a second. Like
oh my gosh, she could have so much fun with that because you could do like the disengagement rule now. You know, you could like make a thing and be like, oh, I'm not actually trying to like get this guy. I'm just going to make a pitching change. I'm just going for a mound visit.
Right.
Really fuck with it. Yeah.
They should make you guys. They should make you guys manager. Be like, what's up? Like, we got all the ideas.
It would be like that movie Eddie. It would be like that movie Eddie with Whoopi Goldberg, you know, where she's just a fan of the New York Knicks. They make her the coach because coach quits.
They're like, you come on in.
I love it.
That's awesome. That's so.
What do you think, Aaron?
Well, I don't know. One name is jumping out at me, and this is just because of it's an internal name. You think it? Yeah, you know who I'm gonna say. Ricky Weeks.
Mm-hmm. And who is that for the uninformed? Like me?
He was second baseman for the Brewers. He played on that 2011 team. He came up in the same year as like Prince Fielder and Corey Hart, and then Ryan Braun was like a year later. He was part of that core team that took us through the 2011 postseason run, and he went and played elsewhere until 2017. And then he took a couple years off, and then he has actually been working for the Brewers front office for a couple of years. I think since 2022. So he's familiar with, you know, both sides of it. He's played for the Brewers. He's worked in the front office, and you know, that's sort of Craig Counsell's storyline as well. They were teammates in 2011, playing for the Brewers. Craig Counsell went and worked for the front office for a little while. Neither of them had any managerial. Sorry, Craig didn't have any managerial experience. So neither does Ricky Weeks. So that doesn't necessarily disqualify him from being a decent manager. Understanding how the Brewers operates. I don't know though, like at the same time, like we did that for a decade. It was good for us, but is that really hiring internally and going with that same narrative? Is that something that would benefit us, or do we really need some fresh blood? I'm not sure, but I love me some Ricky Weeks. So, you know, when I saw his name, I was like, all right, yeah, I can get behind that probably.
Okay. So how would you feel if like Buck Showalter was your manager? Thoughts on him?
Oh, that's interesting. So the Mets come to us instead.
He's looking for a job.
Not super excited about it, but I'm sure that we'll probably just get David Ross. That's what they're gonna do.
Just like a wife swap situation.
Yeah, like I'll switch them. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's gonna happen.
Very, very interesting. Those Cubs games. Man, what would that do to the weird ass rivalry that we already have?
That would be weird.
Maybe they should just spice it up. I mean, isn't that what it's all about?
I mean, everyone is saying that baseball is an entertainment game, you know. So what more entertainment factor would that be than to just,
you know what? They could do that after the All-Star break, right? They could just pick like 4 teams who just switch managers all of a sudden, just like a Hunger Games thing.
Oh my God.
You want to see who the real manager of the year is? Let's go, motherfuckers.
Let us not give anyone any more fucking ridiculous ideas, because for rule changes and stuff like that. Oh, wait. Okay. Expanded postseason, 12 teams, but also we have to trade managers halfway through. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's just stick to baseball. Okay. Please don't throw any more changes at me. I can't handle it.
Right.
And your bat boy is now the DH.
Well,
if he's fast enough.
We had an episode like a long time ago where when we talked about like the new rules and shit, and we're like, what other fucking ridiculous ass rules could we kind of implement? And the one that I came up with was after the 11th inning, you now lose a player. It doesn't fucking matter who it is, but you get to lose a player. And each inning that it goes on, you'll lose more fucking players. So like 12th inning, you lose your, I don't know, center fielder. Okay. 13th inning, you lose one of the other outfielders. 14th, and so on and so forth until it's just like pitcher and batter. Yeah. And
mano y mano.
there you go. And they're like, that's I'm like, would it not up the entertainment factor there? Come on now. Like you gotta
very
gotta
Hunger
tell me,
Games-ish.
like that would be like, and then they're like, that game would go on forever, Susie. That's not shortening the game. I'm all maybe what? I don't know.
Honestly, any idea is better in extra innings than the ghost runner on second base. So I mean, I'd get behind your idea before I stay behind the ghost runner on second.
I'm just saying, like, yeah, you lose your second baseman. Done. Okay. All right. Let's no shortstop. Cool. Let's do it. I'm just saying, like,
but do you change do you get rid of the shift ban then?
Well, if there's no second baseman and no shortstop, like you're kind of fucked. Like,
right.
You can bring outfielders in. You can bring outfielders in.
Yeah. Outfielders.
There's no rule against what they can do. Yeah. Bring them in.
Yeah.
I'd like to see just a home run derby. Like after the 12th inning, just do a home run derby.
Like you get to pick a guy, I get to pick a guy, and we'll see. Like you get however many minutes or seconds.
Something like that.
Yeah. See? Let's do it. Rob Manfred, come on down. I know that you're on pins and needles listening to this, wanting our ideas. So, just
clearly
fan of the game right there. Fan of the game.
Loves it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wants to limit pitchers to 12. I'm like, what the fuck stupid idea are you smoking? But then turn around and be like, oh yeah, here's the pitch clock. FYI, arm injuries totally up. But yeah, let me just reduce the number of pitchers that you can have. Fuck you, Matt, Rob, man.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Speaking my language right now.
Okay, so I know that time is running out. So guys, give me where we can find the show, you guys on social media, and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having us. I don't think we've been able to say that yet, but thank you. This has been super fun.
Anytime. Come on.
We'll have to have you on ours sometime as well.
For sure.
Yes, we'd love to.
So you can find our podcast on anywhere you find podcasts, Apple, Spotify. It's just Brewers Babes. We are also on Twitter at Brewers Babes and Instagram at Brewers_Babes. So we wrapped up our first season of our show in October, but then we had an emergency episode, and I think we'll have a couple of off-season episodes, and then we'll get back into it around spring training, and then we're just always around on social media just to talk shit.
We're definitely gonna look into the YouTubes for sure, because we have some visual content we'd like to bring forth, and it would be hard to rank the City Connects if you had to describe them. Well, this one's black, but it's got red on it.
This is true.
So
this is true. You're like, okay, come on, motherfuckers, use your imagination.
Yeah,
you got Google, figure it out. Let's go.
So this one looks like a pack of Newports.
Yeah.
This one is an Easter egg. Padres are like, what the fuck did we do? Why are we catching strays? Anyways, so you guys should definitely get on the YouTubes. You're totally visually stunning. Like, definitely. You can. This is the video debut. You're like, yes, this is the day that we decided that we are hot enough that we can make a YouTubes. When I decided to make a podcast, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do audio only. Like, no one's like tuning in to see me, because that's not a thing. And my husband was like, absolutely not. I'm all, babe, like, thank you. Like, I appreciate you that you think that I'm a smoke show, but it's not a thing. Like, that's it's not. And he's like, you're not giving yourself. And I was like, you're precious. That's so good that
you're an Astro babe.
Like,
you're an Astro babe.
So,
Astros babe.
But definitely, you guys should definitely get a YouTubes. It's a lot of fun. I mean, I say it's a lot of fun. It's really not. But we will put all of the social media links and links to the show in the show description below. Lisa, Aaron, I was gonna call you Tina and Amy for some fucking reason because I'm an idiot. And
take it.
Don't ask me why. Do it. I was like, Tina and Amy fuck? I'm like, all right, SNL, cool. I'm dumb. Oh, see, look, there's the timer. And so we are going to wrap the show. Lisa, Aaron, I really appreciate you guys coming on and giving me insight into the NL side of baseball. I appreciate you guys doing this. For our peoples down here, if you guys have liked, subscribed, given ratings and reviews, please continue to do that. I so appreciate that. My people in Japan, I don't know how you found the fucking show. Thank you so much. I don't know how or why, but keep listening because you are somehow making my ratings go up, and I'm on like the Apple podcast charts, like way down there, but that's okay because we're on there. USA, where the fuck are y'all? Like, get on this shit. Come on now. I know. So if you can leave a review, give a 5-star rating, sub, like, do all of those things. You can find our Twitters on all that fun stuff, and it will always and forever be Twittered. Like, don't come with me yet.
Right?
It's kind of
Yep.
bullshit.
I got you.
Okay?
I got you.
My elder millennial self over here will always call it Twitter.
Same.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. So with that, we are going to say goodbye. I have a lot more fun content coming for you guys in the off season. Maybe some announcements. I don't know. You guys stay tuned. See if you guys can, kind of figure the shit out. But with that, we will say goodbye and good night and yay, baseball. I'm gonna hit end record. Yay.